Gary Crowley here, and what we're going to do now is we're going to do 2 hip stretches and a hamstring stretch to help free your body so we can get rid of your chronic joint pain. And the first thing we're going to do is what I call a reclined hip stretch. This is a great stretch, and quite simply, you lay down on a table, you cross one leg over the other. Whatever leg is crossed, you're going to take that same arm and you're going to shoot it over your shin, so you're going over your leg. And I usually pull this leg with my other hand on the ankle. So you shoot this hand over your shin, you take this hand that was on your ankle, you put it through the hole in your legs, grab that forearm. You will feel this in your butt, and that is what we want to stretch. We want to free all those nerves that are coming out of your tailbone and low back that these big hip muscles can sometimes torque on and wreak havoc down below. Do the other side same way. This leg's crossed, this arm therefore is going to go over the shin, this hand's going to grab your ankle, shoot over the shin, pull back, and this right hip on me is much tighter, so I got to stretch this more. So that's the reclined hip stretch. You can sit in that for 20-30 seconds at a time, switch back and forth, and you'll find that things let go with more repetitions. The seated hip stretch is just you're sitting like this with basically your legs at roughly these 90-degree angles, and when you lean forward you will feel this in your butt. You'll also sometimes feel it in here, and when you feel it deep in your hip you really know that you got something there. You should never feel this in your knee. If you feel it in your knee, move your foot up or down. There's a place where you won't feel it in your knee. And then when you lean forward, you feel that deep in your hip. And sometimes right there. You switch it up, do the other side. And again, this hip's tighter on me. I have to do more stretching on this side. But you do that for a bit, then you switch it up, go back. You'll find this side's looser from doing the other side. Then you find that side's looser from doing this side. And you go back and forth, and they eventually let go. They feel pretty good to do, too. So that is the reclined hip stretch and the seated hip stretch. And now we're going to move on to stretch your hamstrings. Okay, so I'm about to show you a really, really good hamstring stretch. The best hamstring stretch I've ever found. And basically you really want loose hamstrings, especially if you have back issues, because your hamstrings attach to the bottom of your pelvis, and when they get tight, they pull on those bones at the bottom of your pelvis, and your low back, at the other end of that equation, loses the tug-of-war, because your low back muscles are not as big or as strong as your hamstrings. So if your hamstrings are loose, your low back can relax, and you generally don't have low back issues if everything else is free. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to have you, basically with the weight kind of in the balls of your feet, I'm going to have you just drop into a hamstring stretch. You might be here, it's fine. You want your legs straight, don't cheat, just to impress us. But just drop with your legs straight, drop into a hamstring stretch wherever that happens to be. And then when you feel the gentle stretch in here, I don't want you straining, when you feel, you're kind of at your max, then I want you to flex your quads, basically straighten your legs, flex your quads as hard as you can, and drop into the stretch even more. So basically, I'm here, well, I'm about here, and then I'm weight in the balls of my feet, and then I'm going to flex my quads and go down as hard as I can, and hold that for 5-10 seconds. And come back up, and then do it again, and you'll find you're flexing these as hard as you can is the key, because that tells your brain to let your hamstrings go, because these work off each other. Flex those, helps those let go, and basically I feel this all the way up my back. So that whole line of tissue is going to let go, so then my low back can relax, because it's not being pulled on by all these big strong muscles. So that is the best hamstring stretch I've ever found, and if you do that, you can't do that stretch too much. If you did 3 sets of that 10, 15 times a day, very quickly you'd probably have no more back issues if you just did that alone. But I think you got to do those hip stretches and everything else I showed you, because who knows what you're doing out there. But thank you for your time. Now go back, review what worked, what didn't, what needs more work, and I look forward to hearing how it goes.